1960s were a dark time. As some of our more panicked pundits take a look at our modern era, they see parallels and they try to take it further. They see the outlines of a new American Civil War. This week, we're showing just how ridiculous all this Civil War talk is by taking a look at certain historical eras. Today, we take a look at the 1960s. It may be fading a bit now, but throughout my life, the 1960s have been a dominant part of U.S. mythology. It's a baby boomer epic of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It features strife and suffering, the evils of Nixon in Vietnam, and the redemption of greater rights for African Americans and the success of other liberation movements. Elements of this mythology are very true, but the actual history has been forgotten. Our panicked pundits imagine that we're in a similar time of strife and struggle today. That's where a lot of this Civil War talk comes from. It's nuts. The 1960s were a lot worse than we remember, and we are in nowhere near that much trouble today. The confusion starts with the fact that when we talk about the 1960s, we're not actually talking about the years between 1960 and 1970. The civil rights movement expands far back into the 1950s, and the anti-war movement extends into the 1970s. Brown v. Board of Education, the Supreme Court's landmark decision against school segregation, and President Richard Nixon's resignation form decent bookends to the era. We remember some of the horrors of the 1960s, but the larger ones have been forgotten. I began this video with "Four Dead in Ohio," a song by Neil Young about the Kent State Massacre. 4 white kids were killed by National Guardsmen at a protest gone wrong at a university campus in Ohio. When I talk to older friends and family about how much more violent the 1960s were than today, this is the main event that they remember. Kent State was horrible, and I don't want to minimize it, but it's not that hard to imagine it happening today. We were one jammed gun away from the same body count in Charlottesville earlier this month. The 1960s were so much worse than Kent State. Your urban real estate agent can tell you about it. Neighborhoods in multiple American cities burnt down. We're not talking about the broken windows and spilled trash cans of an Antifa protest. We're talking about entire city blocks being destroyed. Los Angeles, Detroit, Washington, D.C., Chicago, and as many as 100 other cities had serious riots. Many of these cities experienced massive property destruction, and some riots featured dozens of deaths. According to one historian, Newark, New Jersey was particularly horrific, featuring gangs of cops running around shooting black people at random in retaliation for the death of one of their own. The death toll there came to 26. But outside of the big political assassinations, the main deaths we remember are those 4 white kids in Ohio. At first, I thought this was just an artifact of my comfortable white suburban upbringing, but it goes further than that. There's a similar issue with Chicago. Everybody remembers the fact that cops beat up some white kids outside of the Democratic National Convention in August 1968, killing nobody. But the riots that killed 11 predominantly African-American people in Chicago earlier that year are mostly forgotten. This makes the need for a Black Lives Matter movement pretty clear, doesn't it? This fascination with white martyrs has become the official story, far outside of the white suburbs. Last week, I watched an episode of Dave Chappelle's new Netflix comedy show. If I remember it correctly, he too references Kent State rather than Newark or Detroit or Watts. We pretend that we're living through a new 1960s today because we're not remembering the 1960s accurately. We focus on the fact that there are wars in both eras, but we ignore the fact that at the height of the Vietnam War, U.S. soldiers were dying at the rate of an entire war on terror every 6 months or so. This sort of thing is dangerous. We are nowhere near there yet, but if we keep telling ourselves we live in a time of unprecedented crisis, we might actually build one. The only reason Donald Trump was elected is because certain portions of the U.S. electorate convinced themselves that we are living in a time of crisis. We're really not. History is important. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And if you'd like to get a free PDF essay dealing with some of the issues touched on in this video, you can sign up for my email list. Thanks.